Welcome back to the Schmitter 100 Acre Woods. So today going through, and it's going to be a green hole day, but we want to start by getting this cleaned up. This is a secondary drive, doesn't have stone on it yet, and have a tree there that been wanting to take down for a little bit. It's kind of there where if you have the trailer or anything, you're not going to make that turn. So go ahead and cut it and leave quite a bit of it up there so that we can dig it out. Just didn't want to have that project for today. Then I'm gonna drag this tree out. Got it most of the way pulled out, but with a little bit of moisture in the ground, just lost traction. So cut it in half. I'm gonna pull it up here to the trailer. Haven't hooked it up to the truck yet, but it's pretty stable on its own. It's about a 4,000 pound trailer, just sitting there. So don't have to worry too much about it being too tipsy without anything there. So get all the limbs cut off and just move this over to the side, and we'll assess it later. Kind of see if it's something we want to sawmill or just put on the firewood. So then we have the secondary piece of that at the top. Have this sped up 2 or 3 times, just kind of showing getting it drug up the hill here. Just put it in low and let it drag. It's not that much weight. It's more just there's a slight hill there, and like I said, there's a little bit of moisture in the ground, so that area is still covered by trees and doesn't see a whole lot of sunlight. So same deal with that. That piece is pretty small there on the end, so it'll probably just all be firewood. But go through and get all this loaded up. Looks kind of precarious. There's really not that much weight there. It's primarily just all those branches still have leaves. So heading back to the green hole, have some trees over there got out of the way for them, and then have a couple of ash trees that we pulled out of the woods before. I'm just gonna get set over here by some others that we have. Okay, so today's gonna be a green hole day. So taking all that brush that we've been stacking and getting it where the septic's kind of gonna go. Gonna work on getting it back here. So have the older truck here, and working on getting the dump trailer back here to this new green hole. And so a little bit of adjustment, and we have stuff falling off, so may need to get that cleaned up so you can see something. But obviously I have the 62 loading up the dump trailer, and just gonna work on filling this up and getting that cleaned out. So I didn't get footage of that first one being dumped. Had a little bit of an issue just with how it got turned in there, that it needed a little bit of a push out, so just used the backhoe. I have a steel bumper on the back of it that we made, able to just push the truck out, and not a big deal. Here, just using the backhoe to get some of that brush pushed back on the green hole, so whenever we bring more loads back, just kind of work it in, and then every so often just use the backhoe to kind of keep pushing that back. Camera ended up falling down, so you didn't see the end of that, but basically just a whole bunch of trips here of kind of getting this stuff loaded up. It's really about 2 to 3 of the grapples worth that I could kind of get in there, with still really keeping it within the trailer. Only thing we did do is on this dump trailer, we took the whole assembly off, so you can take the doors off independently. We ended up taking the whole assembly off, which is kind of a spreader option where the tailgate will swing, but then also where the ramps and everything sit for this trailer. We took it all off because we found that in the past those things will kind of get hung up or hang up, brush. So got it all taken off, and kind of helps that process. So here, this is the second load I guess we've done back here now. And see, didn't have any issue getting it pulled out, so just kind of getting it refined as far as how far the back up. Later on we get a little bit more confident, or just figure it out better, so that don't have to work it around so much. But with that, we have a pretty small hole here that we are kind of trying to aim into, whereas like that other green hole, we have a nice big area. Here we just hadn't really worked on it that much, hadn't had a need, so we'll have the 62 here with the backhoe, just start digging. There's a couple of trees out here, just some sycamores that were pretty small that get laid down into the green hole, and then just all that dirt. We've done a little bit of tackling with the little tractor, and if you've seen previous videos, you can see kind of us working on getting this made. There are some pretty big pieces of sandstone in there, so that's why I kind of tackled it with the 62, and then came back to start getting loaded up again, and kind of continue our process of getting all this moved. So the reason we're specifically trying to get this brush there moved right now is because of the septic, trying to get it laid out. Where the camera's at is actually just about where we dug the hole for the soil sample. Got that back, seems like everything's going to be good. Just working with the county health department to get everything finalized for the permit. But for like our layout and everything, that brush is going to be partially where maybe the fingers are in the distribution box and everything. So we wanted to get it cleaned up, so we could work around that area, but then also no sunlight's getting to that ground, so we want it to start to dry up, because it does kind of hold moisture under that wood. So there's a fair amount here. We've added to it, and other people have too. So from like whenever they did the power crew here, they kind of put a little bit right there. Not a whole lot. Most of it's from us, but you can see there getting everything pushed in. That one, once you have it all kind of back far enough, it's really easy to push in. Just have to make sure that don't have any branches that are going to come back and punch the grill. You do have to watch that. This does have a plastic grill front on it. Looked at maybe getting a metal one potentially, but for now still just have the plastic. And we do have like a punch hole, and luckily the radiator's not right there or anything. There's a pretty good gap between there and the next anything within, so it's just something we need to be mindful of though when using that. So I have the old 2000 truck doing this just for pulling it in the woods and everything. Don't want to get the new truck torn up at all. And then with the gravel and everything, makes for a pretty decent road to get back there. So, and it's a lot easier to maneuver. That is one nice thing about the smaller truck. You can maneuver it in a lot more spaces than the long bed crew cab. It has its advantages and disadvantages. So that's one advantage there. With the smaller truck, you're able to get turned around in that lot smaller area, whereas the other truck you may have to kind of maneuver a little bit more. But getting toward the end of this pile here, starting to get everything cleaned up to where we can get some sun. And then there's those two trees, so not the sycamore that you see right at the very left edge, but the two further back. We end up getting those down here in just a bit too. So kind of got to the point where I need to push stuff back. So again, just set up with the backhoe and just keep working everything back. Pretty good hole, obviously to the left and the right. And we haven't gotten as far back as that hole goes either. So just kind of keep working that back, and time will be your biggest friend, where everything will kind of settle and naturally kind of work down. But for the purposes of trying to get more in there right now, just kind of keep pushing it back and kind of crunching it in with the backhoe. So that's one thing with the other green hole, how we kind of have that big strip. You could do about 2 or 3 loads before I'd have to go back and push. Even with the little bit we expanded open here, really have to go back about every time to be able to push that back, to leave room for you know, the next load. So I don't remember exactly how many times. Could put a counter on here and see, but you know, as you're cleaning up trees and everything, you don't really think about how much, you know, how many limbs you have on there and kind of the piles. You know, it's a pretty decent pile that we had going, and were several trips. But with all this stuff that's fairly straight, not too bad, it comes out pretty easy. I think we had one load that I had to kind of use the backhoe to kind of hold on to it while he drove forward, just to get it unstuck. It had a bigger log in there that got stuck on the inside. That is one thing with those lights, the stoplights, the way they stick up. And that's just the nature of the dump trailers. One of them or some branches got stuck on that and didn't want to move, so we're able to get it moved around that, and not a big deal. So getting these cut off, just laying them on the ground here, and getting that down so you can start limbing, and then get the other one pushed over here, get it drug out first so we're not laying it on top of each other, and just kind of scooting that over. So the idea is he can be working on that while I work on pushing stuff back. So that one didn't fall exactly the way we wanted, kind of ended up twisting a little bit on us. Just there was a spot in the tree I didn't see, so whenever I started to push, it kind of twisted around. So that's the first one. Cut these pretty far, or pretty close to the ground, because we're just going to use the stump grinder for these so we don't create a weak spot near the septic field. If it ends up being kind of where the tank is, then obviously we'll have to dig it out, but I think it's far enough over that it won't be impacted. So this is a tree that ended up twisting a little bit, so whenever I started to push, it kind of ended up going that direction. So that's why you always have kind of an exit strategy whenever you're using the saw, because even though I was pushing, there was a spot in the tree that whenever I pushed, it kind of twisted, since I had the tines on the grapple on there. So you always want to be cleaned out around a tree so that whoever's cutting the tree can get away in either direction, because you just never know. It's not always a predictable thing, even with the machine up against it. So we got those on the ground so that he could be cutting those up and kind of getting it limbed, while I work on getting all this stuff pushed back. So just got to push back enough to where you know, could get more in there. So he got these cut up, so add that to our log yard down there, and then ultimately, if we had, you know, the ability to, every time we cut down a tree, we basically just do this. We put the branches right into the dump trailer and take it back. That is the one kind of good and bad thing about the gravel. It wouldn't make sense in this sense because we kind of have our log yard to the left and the green hole, you know, back. But before, we typically just drag trees to the green hole, limb them there, and throw everything right in. With this, it doesn't make sense now just because of how far away it is, but in other instances, that's what we did. And we kind of kept more of the mess back there. Well, that's, you know, just not always an option. And then with the gravel, we don't want to drag stuff through that gravel. So we get it limbed up, get it in the dump trailer while we have it here. It's kind of the other reason we got these down now, is we'd be able to limb and not have to start another pile. There's not going to be a whole lot around kind of starting another pile. We just need to make sure it's someplace that we can get to with the 62 so we can load it up, but not going to be in the way of, you know, other projects. So got the last little bit piled up there, and put it into the dump trailer. And then have this one log we need to take back. It has a hole in it and just not a very nice log. Even for firewood, it's kind of gotten pretty mealy in the middle. So it was a little bit bigger than our trail, so I just cut that off and just set it right in the green hole. There's a lot there that was going to be firewood, that just wasn't one of them. So then have a real quick video of kind of getting that opened up. There's a tree there. That was our last load back there, so go ahead and got that out. My camera ended up dying and didn't have another camera back there or another battery back there, so just got that tree out. And we have a couple of trees that the power company told us they were going to take down because they were too close to the power line. So this is a red oak. Got the top out. It'll be really nice for the sawmill. That I had to drag out a little bit. It had a pretty good soft spot back there, so I had to do that. This piece here has got to be pretty close to 4,000 pounds. Tractor wasn't real excited about picking it all the way up and setting it in, but was able to get that up and set in. And then the other thing that they did while they were cutting down trees is there's a small sycamore here. We want to put it on the mill and see what it's like. We have a lot of sycamore here, so hoping we can utilize it for kind of some building and some different things. So just a quick video getting stuff cleaned up here at the 100 acres. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and catch you next time.